What is going on, everyone? My name is Jared Haas, and welcome back to another NASCAR mailbox after the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Let's dig right into it. And now, Big Hand says, now I'm hoping it's Brad Keselowski's turn to break the winless streak. Brad Keselowski is still rebuilding RFK Racing from Roush Fenway Racing. Before, Roush Fenway Racing's kind of slipped back to a mid-pack car until Brad Keselowski took over. If you look at Brad Keselowski's recent stats when he was with Penske Racing, he was averaging anywhere between a 10th and a 14th place finishing car. And then you look at the first year for RFK Racing, he jumped all the way back to a 19th place average finishing position. Strides were being made with RFK Racing. Chris Buescher won at Bristol. Brad Keselowski's not visited victory lane since we was with Roger Penske in 2021. So he has improved this season. Right now, he's averaging about a 15th place average finishing position. In some of it, with some of those finishes getting thwarted with bad luck, he had a shifter break in one of his races. He also had almost a win at Atlanta. Just a block trying to get Logano behind him in Atlanta wasn't as successful as Chase Elliott to Corey LaJoie. So I think Brad Keselowski, RFK Racing, is trending upward. Their program is starting to be a consistent force week in and week out, especially at Super Speedway Racing. That's what the vision is for Brad Keselowski. This was not going to be a short-term game. This is the long game for Brad Keselowski to build this into a successful team and into the ownership where he can retire happy that his team can be a multi-car, capable, winning race team. He's taken the steps so far to get that team up there. I think sooner rather than later he can visit victory lane. I might even put the prediction out there that he can get a win before the season ends. But strides are being made with RFK Racing. They definitely showed some speed. Keselowski had a little bit of bad luck at Charlotte with some getting involved in a wreck, but he again was up there. And now this next one comes from Elaine Lucard, and they say without practice to set car up, it's a lucky break game. Whoever's lucky enough to get the right setup gets stage 1 and maybe stage 2. Finally, someone else gets the setup right and wins the race. Well, with the setup stuff, it's the Coca-Cola 600. There's a lot of changes going on. You had an overcast sky, sun poking through. Race transition to the night, so you saw a lot of comers and goers to the race. Perfect example was Stewart-Haas Racing. Between Kevin Harvick, Eric Almirola, and Chase Briscoe, they lost a combined 41 spots from when they started during stage 1. Chase Briscoe was even passed by B.J. McLeod during the race, under speed, mind you. But they turned it around to the Stewart-Haas Racing cars. You had Kevin Harvick and Ryan Preece finish in the top 13. So it tells you that the race can transition. Seems like Stewart-Haas Racing can really struggle sometimes, especially with some of that sim work. You didn't really have any practice to come in during the daytime, but they proved it during the night. And one of the biggest struggles that they've had with the Fords, even Joey Logano said it, that they're struggling for downforce. They don't really have downforce. So to see the Chase Briscoe getting caught with the part that was to increase downforce, not really shocking to see, trying to think of any way possible to get more downforce for the Fords that were struggling to get downforce compared to the Chevys and Toyotas. But, I mean, it's a long-term game of keeping up with the adjustments if you're trying to be in front of the field. We're gone to the days with these next-gen cars. I've seen a Martin Truex Jr. dominant performance when he led almost the entire race, all but 8 laps. So understand this, that these teams, it's an in and out game. You know, sometimes you really hit it, sometimes you don't. And sometimes you can make those adjustments if you have a long enough race to be yourself a factor. So it is tough without practice or qualifying for drivers to, see what the car has. It's a benefit and a curse to rely on sim work. You can have that experience of the sim track, but you can't replace the reality of situation of what the car handles and what the track feels like. If you saw at North Wilkesboro, Kyle Larson, a prime example, raced the Trucker Series race, won that, and he discovered the turn 3 and 4 where he can get the better speed on the fresher pavement. Translate that to the Cup Series race, basically spanked the field during the All-Star race. So I think it's the important factor that you can't replace track experience. That's the simple answer to that. And when everyone's out to lunch, they're about as equal playing field as when everyone's had practice. So I think it's just interesting to note, we still had comers and goers in this race. Thank you all for watching NASCAR Mailbox. Until the next time, as always, make sure to have a great race weekend. Jared Haas with FrontStretch.com. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, check one of those 2 videos out that we have right beside you. Visit FrontStretch.com for more great content.